Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, our first story is one that you may have seen in the past, but now it has a final and new update to it as well. So if you do want to skip past the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description along the timeline below. Thank you. And this one is from Wild Lavishness 4044. And it says, Fiance, male 30, called off our wedding a week before and left me, female 30, in complete confusion. Throwaway account because my ex-fiance uses the app. So my ex-fiance, male 30, has cancelled our female 30 wedding a week before it taking place. We've been together for about 6 years and lived together for context. What happened basically was an argument that escalated. We were heading to my program graduation. It's a smaller event of about 10 students and some professors from a community college. On that morning as we were getting ready, I asked if he would be okay to wear one of his button-ups instead of the shirt he had on so we could get a nice photo. He was annoyed and snapped, saying, "Why do I have to do things for others?" And I told him that he truly doesn't have to. I was just asking, but it's ultimately his choice. He ended up putting the button-up on and we arrived at the ceremony. Everything went fine and he was very happy for me. However, on the way home in the car, traffic was filling up and he was annoyed. I offered an alternative route that I know cut some time, and the exit to that route was coming up. He didn't take it and I was slightly annoyed about it because he was cranky with me about traffic. So I asked why he didn't take it. He started full on yelling that my tone is rude and that he doesn't have to drive the way I tell him to. I replied saying that I literally just asked and I don't actually care what route he takes. He was the one having a problem with traffic. He blew up and blamed me for getting him upset. When we got home, I apologized and explained that I didn't mean to come across as mean. I also said that screaming doesn't help in any situation and that we should talk instead. He basically explained that an apology doesn't solve anything and that he needs such things to not happen, otherwise he would continue exploding at me because that's the only time I listened to him. After a few hours, we spoke again. He apologized for yelling and I apologized for the miscommunication that happened. Despite resolving this, later that night I was crying due to the fact that he so easily yells at me when he's upset. I was so upset that even on such an important day for me, I felt like he picked fights. And to add to this, yelling is such a red flag for me, and I never do that to him or anyone for that matter. The next morning we were having breakfast and he asked why I seemed gloomy. I told him that everything's okay, I'm just processing what happened yesterday. He asked me to please share with him, so I told him that I felt like my special day was kinda ruined by fighting about things we could have easily resolved. He immediately just flipped and started getting angry again. He blamed me for the fights, and when I replied that I don't think it's fair to blame me, he got angrier and said he can't do this, that I'm not a good communicator, and that he cannot get married like this. I was full on shocked. I thought he was talking out of emotion, like many times before, but this time he actually ended up sending a mass text to some guests to let them know that the wedding is called off. I was flabbergasted at the quickness and so confused. We started arguing and then had to leave for our days. Later that day when we returned, I asked if this is truly something he wants, to call everything off, and he responded with a confident yes. What I thought was an action out of anger seemed to be solid for him. For the rest of the night and the next day, I tried to fix things between us. After many hours of talking and lots of crying from my end, he kept explaining that I don't communicate well and that this cancellation is my fault. I tried to offer some solutions, but he was full on with a decision to cancel and break up. I asked if we could give it another day or two to ensure that this is what he wants before we cancel the venue. He declined and asked to cancel the venue and vendors immediately. So we did. The next day I went on errands and then met with my friend. It was truly such a hard day and I was heartbroken. Still digesting this is happening. When I came home, he asked to talk and started crying that he regrets everything he said in the last days. That he didn't mean it. He was angry and didn't think straight. He said he will start therapy and wanted to do couples counseling now too, after I offered it many times. Anyway, he apologized profusely and kept asking if we can mend everything or whether he fucked up. was almost sure this regret would come, and honestly, maybe it was mean, but I said, yeah, you fucked up big time. You made a rash decision that hurt our relationship big time. There's no coming back from here. He pretty much begged for another chance, but everything is cancelled and my trust is shattered. The wedding's supposed to be in 2 days. His aunt was supposed to be on the way to our house to help us pack up decorations, and now there's no way we can schedule everything again, and frankly, I don't want to at this point. This is not the first he cancels plans or breaks up with me during a disagreement. Everyone is telling us that this is fixable, that clearly we love each other, so if we want, the situation doesn't have to be the end of the relationship. I don't understand how. So much time, effort and money has gone into this wedding that's now done. And plus, more importantly, I can't trust him anymore. I don't know what to do at this point. We were supposed to go on a honeymoon right after, so now I'm thinking I'm going by myself. He asked if we can go together and spend time to fix things, but I'm just questioning everything. I think I prefer going myself to do some soul searching. Should I call this quits and move on with my life, or take his word and start couples counseling? I love him with my entire heart, and we had many loving experiences between us over the years. We don't have any issues aside from such incidents, but I don't know whether it's actually possible to come back from this one. Thoughts or advice? And Opie is totally right not to trust this relationship anymore. It's a classic cycle of abuse that we see time and time again. The explosive anger over small things and then blaming her for the reactions. This is your fault we're breaking up. And it sounds like the threats to the relationship isn't the first time this has happened. And then, when he realizes everything, he love bombs you. Absolutely done you a favor in this situation, so take it with both hands if I was you. The commenter says, for me, what sticks out is he seems bent on ruining special moments for you. That feels calculated. Does he have trouble controlling his temporal reactions at work? With friends? If not, he's choosing to use you as a punching bag. Opie says he has trouble controlling his reactions with friends and work too. Once he cools down, he processes what happened and tries to ensure it won't happen again. Although these situations have lessened with time. This last blow-up was disproportionately huge. Garden Gnome says, you don't want to marry this man and he's doing you a huge favor. Huge. Find a place to live. Extricate yourself financially from him and thank your lucky stars you're not going to waste a decade with a man who screams at you all the time before you get that divorce. God forbid you have kids with him. So Opie came in with her first update about a week later and said just wanted to provide an update. Since all this happened, he apologized profusely and offered to return the venue and still go and get married on the same day. He also offered couples counseling starting now and right after we get married, if I still want to. He also offered to go on a trip together to fix things. I declined to everything since the damage has been done, and I decided to go on the honeymoon myself while he packs all his items. He's going to start his own therapy journey while we're broken up. I don't know what's next, but this hurts so much because we still love each other. He's going to work on his mental health to address the impulsive actions when he's upset. He also realized it wasn't actually a communication issue, but rather how he felt attacked due to his own confidence. I appreciate his honesty, but can't see how it's possible to forgive what happened. Commenter says to OP on the back of that one, I agree it's very telling how he throws a tantrum about a shirt on the day she has an achievement. Now that he cancelled anything she liked for the wedding, he offers a fine I'll do it wedding, which will feel like crap the entire day. She's embarrassed in front of all the guests and everything will be a last minute make do. I bet if OP looks back, they happen to have fights when she is looking forward to or happy about something. Any fights before big tests, visiting family, trips she's looking forward to. OP needs to take a minute and think. Does the honeymoon without X feel like a relief? Think about going with him. Does that feel like something you would have to mentally work up to managing him? OP says he was thoroughly involved in planning the wedding and honeymoon. He was very excited, or at least it seems so. The tantrum is definitely just embarrassing. Commenter says he's shown you how easy you are to throw away. What happens when he pulls this again, but this time there's kids and he walks out? You deserve better. I'm sending you all the hugs. OP says this is a hard truth to swallow, but you're spot on. Commenter says to OP, you dodged a bullet. OP says definitely did. Thankfully it ended this way since I was so humiliated I couldn't go back. So 7 months after that post, OP comes in again and says, for everyone who attempted to talk some sense into me, you all have no idea how many times the comments in the original post saved me from going back and second guessing myself. You literally saved me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The moment I stepped back fully, I felt so much more like myself, a confident, lively, and silly version of myself. I missed her so much, and to add to it, my 31st birthday felt like a complete rebirth. Almost a year later, I'm somehow the happiest I've ever been. My entire life fell apart and I struggled immensely, but surprise, everything worked out. Now I'm in a new relationship, and it feels so peaceful, which took a lot of adjusting too. The ex feels like a past life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For anyone reading this, please leave the abusive relationship. If you're questioning whether it's abusive, odds of it being so are high. Your sanity, mental wellness, and physical health matter. Don't forget that. It does get better, not only in movies. So people were obviously happy for OP in the comments. The first one said, I'm so happy to read this update. Your ex cancelling such a big event and holding it hostage because he didn't want to accept criticism of his behavior is so toxic. I'm glad you found a new relationship that makes you feel peaceful and secure. Have you heard from your ex at all? How did the breakup go? If you don't mind me asking. OP says he moved out, and then we met on the day of the, air quotes, wedding for a closure conversation. Lots of crying and we kissed for the last time. Thankfully, I felt nothing. This is how I knew it was over. He continued wanting to get back together and started intensive therapy with the support of his family. We stayed in contact for a bit before I realized it didn't feel good, so we cut contact. He remained hopeful of reconciliation, but respectful of my wishes to stop communication. Commenter says, honestly, that's about as good of an outcome as someone in this situation could hope for. The fact that you recognized the contact was bringing you pain and made a conscious decision to step away from that is not an easy thing to do. You should be proud of yourself. OP says, truly the best outcome. Many said, thank your lucky stars, and now I understand. Thanks for the support. Commenter says, wow, so happy for you. Your original post and situation sounded traumatic. I know it would have taken me years to be fully healed and get into a new relationship. You'll see Redditors on the sub who will say that dump him is the automatical default response and that OP should stick it out and die on that hill. However, for us, we have no skin in the game. We go back to our lives. OP is left facing their choices. Glad you're at peace now. OP says Redditors see things from their own lens, so the intention is positive, but yeah, the hand is light on the keyboard. Thank you. Only after fully leaving, it was possible to digest how abusive the dynamic was. Acknowledging it instead of thinking, oh, he's hurt, I should be compassionate BS. I was in therapy before and still continuing. That's been a tremendous support. And one more commenter who says, like the kids say these days, he fucked around and found out hard. What a tough lesson he had to learn. As for you, wow, you should be so proud of yourself. I'm so happy for you. And OP says, appreciate the love. Both of us learned some tough lessons, but I'm grateful it happened. It made me capable of handling such deep emotional pain that I'm not even scared of anything else anymore. And I don't think there's too much to add on the back of that one. I think OP made the right choices most of the way through here, and they're looking after themselves at the very end. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, Am I the Arsehole Here for breaking up with my girlfriend for suggesting an open relationship and not letting her explain? My girlfriend of about 5 years recently suggested an open relationship. I know what it is, but just in case I misheard, I asked her to elaborate. And yeah, pretty much what you would think. She wanted us to be able to have sex with others. I took a deep breath and said that we were done. I've seen stories about open relationships and know that there's no way in hell I'd ever want one. She tried to take it back, but I told her that the fact that she had the nerve to even ask is a deal breaker. For your information, we had never done anything with another person, and I have never suggested any of it. So there's no way I ever gave her any hints. This is something I'd want. I didn't even listen to her and just ignored her as she kept trying to explain and apologize. I just packed some stuff and went to stay with my parents. She's been trying to call me, but honestly, I feel like asking for an open relationship is basically asking for permission to cheat. Zach Uncorked left a comment on this post and said, "That's how my first marriage ended. My now ex-wife started suggesting an open relationship, but said she had nobody in mind. She just wanted the option hypothetically. However, she'd been hanging out with the one single guy in our local friend group and hid it from me, so I immediately knew what was happening. She denied it completely. We mutually agreed to end things and she immediately began dating him officially. 6 months later, she wanted to vent about him to me, and I said I didn't want to hear it. She made her bed. I was out of there, much happier afterwards. It was a blessing in disguise, and I met my new wife a couple of years later, and we've been together over 10 years. Sleep says, honestly, 9 out of 10 times when someone asks to open a close relationship, they're either already having an affair or it's a soft launch of the affair. Kimmy Sharma says, good for you. I applaud your self-respect for staying true to your values. Humble says, just wait. After she realizes you're not coming back, you'll see who she wanted to cheat with pop up in her socials. Panda says, yeah. When someone who has never expressed any interest in an open relationship suddenly wants one, at best there's someone waiting in the wings, and at worst they've already cheated and want to make it acceptable. I mean, yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I always get comments after open relationship stories saying, you know, they've got an open relationship and, you know, fair play to you. We're always going to see this side on Reddit, especially in these stories, right? It's personally something that I would never be able to do myself, but I wonder where this one's going to go. But it was 24 days later after that original post that OP did come into update and said, so I had to see her again at our old place since a lot of my stuff was there. She did try to convince me again that she didn't mean it and that she didn't need an open relationship. Honestly, reading the comments from my last post kind of helped me prepare for this, to be honest. I had an idea as to what to expect. I told her some things you just can't take back. Some questions just can't be unheard. She did try to convince me again, but honestly, I ignored her as best as I could. I just don't feel safe with her anymore. I don't feel comfortable staying with someone who even wants to explore this. Like the idea that she wanted to go out and fuck others, come back and act like nothing happened genuinely makes my stomach drop. Like she was 100% okay with that. I did some self-reflection and ask, would I ever ask her something like that? No, I really wouldn't. I feel like some things just change the way you see people. I mean, if I told her I want her to get cosmetic surgery, she'd be hurt. I know she would. There's something fundamental in you, like you are not good enough for your partner, and they actively want to change you or your relationship. I don't know. I'm sad that this happened, but I don't regret it. Psycho says on the back of this one, bet as soon as you broke up she called the new piece and it wasn't what she liked, so now she's like, oh, we didn't have to do that now. Sparkle Huggies reply saying, exactly. OP was right to trust his gut. Once that door gets opened, it changes everything, even if you try to walk it back. That kind of suggestion just doesn't come out of nowhere, and OP deserves someone who's all in without second thoughts. He didn't owe her another conversation after that, and honestly, walking away was the most respectful thing he could have done for himself. Short and sweet and straight to the point that one was, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. Now, our next story comes from the best of no updates, so if you're not a fan with stories with no updates, this one isn't for you, but I saw the title and I had to get involved. It's from Bug Actor Husband, who says, am I the arsehole for throwing away my husband's couch? He's pretending to be a beetle, and it's driving me nuts. And just another shout as well, this was from around when lockdowns were going on, so you know there is references to all that stuff as well. Throwaway backstory. My 33 female husband, 35 male, is a successful actor in film and theatre. He's very good. He's been in some minor roles in films with some A-list actors, and very seriously dedicated to his craft. He's a firm believer in method acting, meaning he tries to truly live his role in order to understand it. Because of COVID, he basically hasn't had any work this year, and that's been really stressful on us both. A few weeks back, he got the main part in a play by a major theatre director, and he's so over the moon to be not just learning lines again, but working with the greats. He has taken this opportunity extremely seriously. The play is The Metamorphosis, about a German man waking up one day and finding out he has become a monstrous bug, a huge beetle. My husband has the man beetle part. For his method acting, he strapped a big thing of cardboard to his back, like 6 by 4 feet, to give him the immobility of a big flat bug. He spends all his time on the floor scurrying around and hissing and snarling and clicking to communicate, during working hours only. This isn't really a problem for me, because we have enough space in our 1-bedroom apartment. The real issue is that, since bugs are sensitive to light, he spends most of the day hiding under the couch, sleeping and snarling. This sucks because the couch is the only place in our apartment where I can sit to do work for my company during the day. I don't have a desk, but it's also the only place where he can conveniently lie flat and hide. Our bed frame doesn't have space underneath. This was going on for the last week. I kept tripping over his cardboard shell when I walked past the couch, and his sub-couch noises would disrupt me while I'm doing work. So I kinda lost it while he was sleeping in bed and threw out the couch. I replaced it with a nice big desk and chair from IKEA that I can work on, and he couldn't hide under. This gets to the am I the arsehole question. He's now complaining that I threw out his couch. True, that nowhere else in the apartment is quite as good for being a bug. I'm not sure, and that me sabotaging his ability to be bug-like is compromising our finances. Not really true. I make more money than he does. He has a point on that throwing out his couch might have been over the line, but that wasn't really a good spot for my work desk anywhere else in the apartment, and frankly, the bug under the couch thing was driving me nuts. His method acting still seems to be going fine. He's now spending most of his days under a blanket fort in our bedroom, so no permanent damage appears to have been done, other than the couch, which kinda needed to be replaced anyway. Now, initially coming into this, before, when I read the title, I thought it was going to be like one of the band, one of the Beatles. But so some of the comments were saying the same. Andrew the Solar says, I thought he was rocking a bowl cut and speaking in a Liverpool accent. Not whatever the fuck that was. Another commenter says, info, just wow, I got nothing to say here. Where does he eat? Opie says, oh, he'll eat pretty much anything. It just has to fit well on a flat plate and not require hands. So it's mostly large cereals, Cocoa Pops, lettuce, chunks of breads, cherry tomatoes, grapes, those kind of things. No rice or cookies or stuff that's sticky or too crumbly. We also have real meals outside of working hours. He's doing his acting from about 8 AM to 5 PM, and then we have like a normally seated dinner. Miss Jamie E says his family sell us furniture in the play. Say you were just helping with his method. Webby Vanderquack says, info. How does he fit under the couch? How did you get the couch out of the apartment? How did he not wake up while the couch was being moved? Where do you live that your local theatre is staging plays again? Opie says, we had a mid-century modular couch. It was a light fabric couch on reasonably tall wooden legs. We got it because it was super easy to sweep underneath. The couch itself had 3 modular pieces that fit together, so I could pick up and throw out one piece at a time. He was asleep in bed while I was throwing it out. Without going into too much personal detail, we live in Northern California, but the premiere will be next year in LA. Another commenter says, thank you for this, just thank you. In a sea of am I the arsehole for telling my husband to do more chores-esque tales. Your story is a beacon, not the arsehole. And there was a lot of references to Ogther in the comments as well, holy moly. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.